Welcome back to Driven Daily's Honda CRX Hill Climb build. This is day 5 and things have not been going well. The front suspension is not all back together yet. I intended to have that done early yesterday along with some other things that didn't get done. The engine is still not in, it's not wired up, the fuel is not plumbed, and I found some new bad news last night. The new problem that I discovered last night has to do with the steering rack. Listen very carefully. Ready? I've never pulled a steering rack apart before, but I don't have much to lose. Either I replace this, or I try to rebuild it, and if I fail, I replace it. I have a 21, but I have a feeling this will be a 22. Nope. I only have sockets that go that big. I think I figured out how this comes apart now. What you really need is a 17 and a 22. If you don't have a 22, you need a very narrow adjustable. This is never the recommended tool, but it worked for me. Now that I have the outer tie rod off, I think the inner rack should just slide right out. I want to point out that this little washer has these two tabs bent in. You need to bend those back up before you can get at the bolt that needs to come off. It looks like most of the problem with this steering rack is this play, which is probably a bad bearing, but that might indicate a problem with this shaft. I'm not sure yet until I actually see the inside. Well, getting the dust seal out of the steering rack was a lot more work than it really should have been because I just wasn't trying hard enough. You just literally have to destroy the seal. This is what the seal actually looks like. And it just fits on like that, but it goes all the way down in. So I just took a screwdriver, pried it in, and ended up just yanking it up. And the next step, take your snap ring pliers, well, I've spent 3 hours trying to get the steering rack apart, and the pinion won't come out. The bearing seems to be seized right in there. It moves, and it makes awful noises, but I'm not sure that this is worth even disassembling at this point. I'm just going to need to find a replacement. There's nothing more I can do with it. It's pretty frustrating. So I'm going to move on to a different project. I'm going to replace the steering wheel hub. We'll get to that. The obvious question you should be asking right now is why replace the steering wheel hub adapter? And the answer is because it has play. So I have an okay quick release on this, and quick release is essentially just a pull and remove, and then a pull and install. And you can see that there's a little bit of play in this. I think you can see that at least. It moves, and that's enough that I would consider it dangerous. The first step is obviously to remove your old steering wheel hub adapter. And that's it. There is no play on that whatsoever. Now I should have addressed this when the engine came out, but I didn't. I'm not really sure where to get stock motor mounts other than the Honda dealership. This is what a motor mount should roughly look like when it comes out. This is what some of the mounts looked like when they came out. I can kind of refurbish these. I can make it workable by filling that material in and just putting a metal sleeve in it, but that's not preferable. I'd much rather get a real motor mount that just fits. I'm done. Well, that was easy. This thing ruined my day. Ever since I realized what bad condition it's in and the fact that I can't use it again, trying to disassemble it so that I could rebuild it was fraught with problems. I still don't know how to take this thing apart, despite reading all of the manuals ever. And I couldn't find a local replacement for this. What I did find was a close enough replacement from Tom, who had an all-wheel drive Civic subframe and the power steering rack that he had depowered. The problem is that doesn't fit in the subframe that I spent most of my day cleaning and welding and painting. So all of that work that I did to solve a problem doesn't actually solve anything at all. I need to take the thing back out. I can't let it get me down, but it gets me down a bit. It seemed like a good plan at the time. All that work that I did on the subframe is completely meaningless now. I really hope I don't have to do that again. It's late and frustrated o'clock, and I just found out that I'm gonna have to pull the front subframe one more time because I can't attach the steering column to the steering rack without someone holding the subframe up from beneath, and I can't do both at once. My jack doesn't even go high enough to be able to do that, so I'm kind of screwed right now.